Welcome back, everyone. We are here again on YouTube and LinkedIn Live with another exciting episode of the Top Innovator Series. This is where we dive into proven leadership ideas and successful business strategies and, of course, the brilliant minds behind them. My name is Josef Martens, and I'm thrilled to introduce our guest today. With us today is Dr. Joe Perez. Joe is a senior tech leader for the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. He also holds the role of Fractional CTO for CogniMind, and in the past he held tech executive roles for other organizations. And he's also an award-winning author and international keynote speaker on data analytics and decision making. And today we're thrilled to have him with us. Joe, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here in this conversation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Joseph. The honor and pleasure are mine.
Wonderful. So you have an amazingly successful career, Joe. And the question I have for you as a starting question, when you reflect on that, when you think on your own journey, what do you think are the ingredients for that success? What got you to where you are today?
That's an excellent question, sir. I think if we are more centered on what we can do for people rather than
Mm,
what people can do for us, um, that
mm,
opens up the door to greater service. Okay, the idea that everyone is here to serve me does does not mix well with leadership in my book. It's more important to me to see what kind of value can I bring to the organization. In what way can I help individuals, my coworkers, my teammates, to do their jobs even better, to ensure that they're able to bring greater level of value, to ensure that they are able to take more ownership in the things that they do. To the extent that I'm able to provide encouragement and guidance and direction or setting a good example thereof, um, is a way that I can find myself being more valuable to the organization, supplying them
mhm,
with their needs, and looking upon an expectation as a thing to be exceeded rather than
mm,
the thing to be met. Okay,
mhm.
so often, the human mentality is what little can I get by with,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
Mhm,
how much greater can I do,
yeah.
right? The expectation, the standard is here. If I set my standard here, then I have increased my value to the organization, that they can see that I will go beyond the call of duty. I
Yeah.
will go beyond that limit that would differentiate me from the others, and encourage others to do the same,
Mhm,
to not um, give mediocre performance, because I
mhm.
think that mediocrity is but a heartbeat away from death. Okay, I really serious. I don't
I
know.
love it.
I don't think
That's gonna make a good sound bite.
Confucius. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Confucius said that. No, Confucius did not say it. I just made that up. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. I'm a firm believer that if I'm not innovating, I'm
Mhm,
stagnating. I feel like I need to be moving forward, doing something better today than I did it yesterday, and even better tomorrow. I feel that I need to be willing to either adapt to the
mhm,
situation or adopt the principles involved in if
mhm,
I'm going to be adept,
mhm.
right? If
Yep,
I'm adept, I must either adapt or adopt,
yep.
one or the other, so that I can move forward.
Let me dive a little bit deeper into this idea of exceeding standards. So I get
Hmm.
it what that means in terms of product delivery, for instance, right? That I have an
Sure.
idea around this. What does it mean in the context of leadership? So what does it mean to exceed as a leader?
Hmm. So doing more than what's expected, not being satisfied with the status quo,
Hmm.
not resting on one's laurels or past
Hmm.
successes, um, always striving to see what is the best way that I can bring value to the
Hmm.
organization. And
Hmm.
to the extent that I can do that, I think, again, that will help me as I move forward each day.
Yep, yep, I get it. Let me take a look at another perspective of your leadership. I'm sure you had many trusted advisors, mentors, or
Hmm.
people who were walking by your side, who gave you guidance, who gave you advice.
Yes.
When you think of these people, what is some advice you got from them that sticks with you? Something that was so important for you that you still remember it and you might still apply it.
Sure. I had one that liked to tell me this is that a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way.
Mm-hmm.
There's okay, you know the way, meaning that you familiarize yourself with whatever aspects of
Okay.
your job. Know what it is that you need to do. Know the way.
Mm-hmm.
Go the way means you just set the example for those around you and put into practice the things that you know to
Mm-hmm.
be the right things to
Mm-hmm.
do, the right things, the right direction to go. And then show the way is being willing to guide
Mm-hmm.
others along the way as well, is understanding that, no man is an island. I didn't make it, as it were, by myself.
Mm-hmm.
There were others that contributed to my success who were committed to helping me along the way.
Yeah.
I therefore need to be willing to do the same for others. So know the way, go the way, show the way. That was one of the
Nice.
best
Mm-hmm.
pieces of advice that I've ever
Yeah.
received.
Yeah. I like it. Also has the element of teacher in it right away or coach or so, right? That's right in that. Um,
Precisely. Yeah,
mm,
I was an educator for 10 years before I got into information technology. So
mhm.
that kind of informs much of what I do,
Yeah.
is that I see a process that needs to be improved, or I see a situation that needs to be remedied, or I see a person that does need that extra push or that extra word of encouragement. I'm going to jump in there and provide that encouragement, that instruction, that guidance, or whatever it is that other individual might
Got
need.
it.
So yeah, that's the heart of a
Yeah.
teacher. That's already been ingrained into my psyche for decades.
Yeah. Let me ask you for some other advice that you got from mentors, and this time
Hmm.
advice that didn't make sense at the time. Was there something where you can think you got some advice from someone, didn't make sense at the time, seemed like a stupid idea, seemed like someone didn't know what they're talking about, and maybe later with hindsight, maybe with some more wisdom, you wonder maybe there was something to it when they told me that.
Well, going contrary to this exceed expectations thing, there are some
Hmm.
times that you got to take a break and
Hmm.
take care of yourself. And at the time, it didn't make any sense because I felt it was selfish. But realizing, before you can't pour water out of an empty vessel.
Hmm.
Okay. And
Hmm.
if I'm going to be pouring wisdom and pouring goodness and pouring energy,
Yeah.
into others, when there's nothing in the tank for me, okay,
Yeah.
then I'm not going to do anyone any good if I wear myself out, or if I go, when I recognize these expectations and try to exceed them at the same time. I need to recognize my own limitations and
Hmm.
recognize that, there are some times that you've got to step back, recharge, regroup, and take a break, get some rest, get some much needed rest to come back and fight that dragon again the next day.
Yeah.
You're not going to conquer every mountain in the same day. You leave some for tomorrow, right? So, get the rest you need, and you'll come back to face those challenges
Yeah.
again, refreshed and renewed, and not fall flat on your face when you're trying to push forward when there's nothing left.
Yeah. Got it. Still on the topic of something turning out different from what we expected, what was a
Hmm.
leadership moment where you had an idea it would go a certain way? You had a clear idea, this is how this is going to play out, this is how this is going to work, and it turned out to be different.
Okay. Um, have to think a minute about that one. So, when I managed computer training for the for the university where I worked, I managed computer training for a year, and I had a particular idea in mind to start a new class to help increase revenue. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
particular department was completely receipt supported. And the class that I thought would do well, it actually bombed.
Mm.
And I had to drop back to and punt, as they say in American football. Uh, you know, it the idea just it it was ahead of its time. We didn't have the appropriate infrastructure to move forward with it. It was supposed to be a practical class that had to do with repairing computers, and I did not have enough equipment. I did not have the appropriate instructor in place, and people signed up for it, which was great. But when we weren't able to deliver, I had to cancel. And so I had to regroup and ensure, next time around, okay, make
Yeah.
sure you are able to deliver on that promise.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the next time around, it did quite well. As a matter of fact,
Yep.
it paved the way to even greater success, where we turned a significant deficit in a trust fund, which you're not supposed to have, into a profit of over $90,000 in less than 6 months. So
Okay.
it was uh, a huge risk, but it didn't come until after that other failure that caused me to realize what I
Yep.
had been doing incorrectly.
Got it. Great story about risk taking as well, right? That
Yeah.
sometimes that. Yeah. Now we talked about your past leadership journey. I'd like to take a look at today. And again, this is not a question about positions or organizations or
Hmm.
so. When you
Right.
look at where you are today, what's an area that you want to focus on in your growth? What's an area where you think this is where I want to find my next level, or this is where I really want to advance myself?
Hmm. I think an increasing skills in areas that I have not excelled in personally. Um, there are there is a variety of
Mm-hmm.
um, I guess you might call data sources for the line of work that I'm in um, that I'm not familiar with, that I've not really personally worked with. And I trust in the experts that are on the team to know precisely what to do with it. And I myself have not had to know those things. And
Mm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I want to challenge myself to become more familiar, to
Mm-hmm.
try to gain some level of expertise, so that when people tell me XYZ will work or
Yeah.
not work, then I'll have the innate knowledge to tell, okay, I'm not just getting a snow job. I know that what they're saying is the truth. Not that I would ever doubt my team members, but having that assurance myself so that I can, with equal confidence,
Yeah.
explain to other stakeholders in other departments.
Yeah. At least be able to see if something's plausible, right? To run the initial
Precisely.
plausibility
Right.
check, even if we're not the
Yes.
deep experts in something. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's
Mm.
one of the things that I've done in the past, is in leadership, you yourself may not necessarily have to be an expert in every single area of every single aspect throughout the entire spectrum of your business landscape,
Mm-hmm.
as it were. But you need to be able to have enough of an overall 10,000-foot strategic view, and enough trust in your people, and
Mm-hmm.
enough innate knowledge of, okay, these are the skills, these are the strengths and weaknesses, to know essentially where to move the chess pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, let them do the things that they are the experts at doing. You are the expert in understanding what their capabilities are,
Mhm.
where the resources can best be deployed, and what's the effect going to be on your business. See, part of the problem with some leadership is they will go to either one or two extremes. They will either be so interested in the overall 10,000-foot strategic view that they forget the day-to-day boots on the ground operational view, right? It's the people with the operational skills that execute the strategic plan.
Mhm.
But it's the strategic plan that keeps the operational on the right track, right? You cannot
Yeah.
ignore the one
Yeah.
at the expense of the other. It's important to have both of them at least in some semblance of equanimity in order to be able to execute your
Yep.
plan. So have the plan, but understand the pieces that it takes to execute the
Yep.
plan.
Yep. That makes perfect sense. Yep. Let me ask you one last question, Joe, and then we'll land the
Yes, sir.
plane. If you had a magic wand and could change one thing about how most tech leaders lead their organizations, what would that be? So, what do you think is an area where a lot of tech leaders get it wrong or stumble or they could do something better?
Right. I like that. I would say I would say place more value in your team, listen to your people,
Hmm.
value what they have to say, um, take uh, try to get them to take as much ownership in what they do as you do. If you're
Hmm.
the leader, the buck stops with you.
Hmm.
You are the one who are responsible, but yet you are not an island. Okay,
Hmm.
you are not doing this in
Yeah.
isolation. There are many parts of a machine that come together to make it work, and those parts need to be recognized. Those parts
Yeah.
need to understand that, hey, you are an important part of this organization. You are valued. And I want you to understand that this organization cannot succeed without the contributions that you bring, without the value that you create for us. And I'm going to entrust you with this particular area, and you are going to succeed, and I will provide what you need to succeed. And give you the encouragement that you need, and I think that sometimes I don't know, in leadership, that element gets forgotten.
Mm.
That there are a lot of pieces that go into the success of the organization as a whole. So get those pieces, those people, those individuals,
Yeah.
to take pride in what they do, to take ownership in what they do, and you do that by placing a great deal of value in them, and not only placing the value in them, but expressing that to them so that they
Yeah.
recognize they have got a part in this. They are a part of the success. And I believe that if they have um, that sense of belonging, that sense of worth, that sense of personal stake in it, then they're going to give it everything they've
Yeah.
got to help ensure the success of your
Yeah.
organization because they recognize, hey, they're counting on me. My efforts are worth something. Therefore, I will start doing a little bit more of those exceeding those expectations that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I thought back to the beginning of our conversation as well, right? It comes full circle again, where you talked about the
Yes, sir.
exceeding of expectations and also the focus on others, right? And it's right there again.
Precisely. That's
Joe,
how I see it, sir.
thank you so much, Joe. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in the conversation here.
Indeed, it was my honor and pleasure as well, Joseph. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. To everyone else out there, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us again for our next episode of the Top Innovator series. And really important, make sure to keep your brain cells active.